Etienne and Bev, thank you very much for running a workshop for us. It's great. I've just got a couple of questions from the social reporting team. First of all, we'd like to ask you how you envisage those leadership roles working in a community of practice that we're going to create. I'm presuming that we will be using that model.
I would say be quite pragmatic. We've put those roles that we found to be important. They don't have to be those roles, and you can adapt them in ways that make sense to you. You might want to start by using those roles, but they're not a sort of prerequisite for a community of practice to function.
So that's interesting, because that actually reflects on the discussion this morning where we had a number of other roles as well that members of the community could fill. So we really need to adopt what we think is necessary.
Yes, I mean, those roles that we've done in this workshop represent those 4 principles which are important, which is bringing voices in, pushing practice out, self-representation, and critical self-design. Those are 4 important principles. It's worth bearing in mind those principles rather than the roles themselves.
Yeah, because the roles is more almost like a pedagogical device here, so that the groups learns how to take these different perspectives. It's not necessarily something that you want to implement in your community. That's not what we were suggesting here.
So were these roles specifically designed for this workshop, or do you use them in other contexts as well?
We use them in other contexts. We adapt them as well, depending on the group, but and because they evolve, we find somehow that actually this role needs to be expanded, and then we change the name. So the roles themselves evolve.
So that would explain the other names we had this morning in the PowerPoint show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's right. Because for instance, if you are a community coordinator, you may need to pay attention to these different perspectives all at once. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do understand. Do you have anything else you'd like to add to this idea of assigning roles and leadership in our communities?
Just that I would be very careful of sort of coming up with a list of roles on day 1 of your community and then assigning them. I would actually see what energy is in the group and then see how you can fit the leadership roles to the energy that you've got.
So it's more like an evolutionary process where you realise potential that's there, as it were, in the DNA of the group.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and some of these roles you never assign because they cannot be assigned. Like for instance, the role of expert. You know, it's going to come from a person. You know, it's not like something you can decide all of a sudden, oh, you are an expert. See what I mean?
Yeah, so expertise could come from the whole group, or in some areas just from specific members of the group.
Yeah, because over time in a community you often have someone who is recognized as an expert in something, someone else who is recognized as an expert in something else, and you gain that reputation in the exchanges of the community. It's never something that is assigned.
So that would be supported by the communication of what's happening and the showcasing of stories as well.
That's right, but if you pay attention to that, you may want to recognize someone who is an expert, that they would lead a certain conversation, or they may need to be given a bit of time to write something out or something like that. You know?
That's great. I think we'll have lunch now. Thank you very much for that little discussion about how roles and leadership roles in our communities will work. Thank you.
Okay, great. Thank you.